kittens, and here is my "Hey, how are you" face. If you've been witness to my rantings before, you'll know I like to make videos on drawing, planning and publishing, and blow me down with a feather, it's bullet journal time again. But the big news is I'm having to start a new bullet journal, and it's not the end of the year yet, so I'm having to sort of annex my main journal. I loved my Ottergami hardback notebook, so I've just got a paperback Rhodia Dot Book, and that's going to just join to my old one, kind of like a granny flat to a family home. I'll show you a little bit of how I set up my September onwards granny annex bullet journal. I'm using a combination of my Papermate Flair pens for the thick lines and the Staedtler Pigment Liner 0.1 for the thinner lines. Now, I have talked about these pens before in most of my videos. I absolutely love the Papermate Flair. They are so brilliant for drawing and for writing, particularly if you're writing in books. They are great because they'll write on anything pretty much. And the good old Staedtler Pigment Liners, they're a bit like other fine liners that you can get. I've had different ones before, but I really like these ones. They seem to flow really well, and they come in sizes from 0.1 up to 1, I think. And I found this rather lovely washi tape. It's proper washi tape, not you know, sometimes you can buy stuff that says it's washi tape, but it's not. It's quite thick. This is really proper washi tape. It's very thin. The white part is very thin and see-through, so you don't really see it on the page. And then I'm just colouring the leaves that I've done here in a variety of yellows and oranges and a couple of browns as well, to give that autumnal tone to this section of my my bullet journal for the end of this year. So it's going to be the months of September, October, November and December, and hopefully this whole book should be able to cope with that, and then I'll start my new bullet journal at the beginning of 2021. And yeah, I'm kind of looking forward to buying a new bullet journal for that next year, because I want to buy something that's bright and sparkly and, you know, gives me lots of hope for the next year. And I'm just going to give a little bit of colour to these 6-month overviews with those browns and yellows and oranges. And then I've already filled in this double page spread, which is my workflow for those next few months. And they are just 4x4 little boxes to remind me of what's going to be coming up, particularly for my YouTube videos. Again, this is my Papermate Flair, which I'm just using for my front page of September. And like I said in the beginning, in the intro, I am going to draw some sweet corn, pumpkins and some fruit and some jam. So this is the beginning of my sweet corn plant. I did actually grow some sweet corn up at the allotment a couple of years ago, and it was a lot of work. I've got to tell you, there was a lot of watering involved and a lot of weeding and all that sort of thing, and actually the sweet corn that I got were really awful and completely not worth it. So I buy my sweet corn from the supermarket and let the farmers do all the hard work, because they know what they're doing. And frankly, I don't. So yes, getting my sweet corn from Farmer Jack's and places like that this year, and probably my pumpkins too, because although I have grown some what are they, like courgette type things in my garden, unfortunately my pumpkin plants didn't grow. But I did get plenty of fruit. I've got some blackberries, some black currants, and also some blueberries, which I'm going to make jam out of at some point when I get around to it. So these lovely little things are representative of this time of year for me, because I always feel like I'm getting busy with making things for winter, and I particularly love making stuff that I can have at Christmas, because it has that little flavour of summer still. And because you can see that there is a lot of ghosting going on from my workflow page that's on the left hand side there, you can see the paper is quite thin on this particular notebook, much thinner than it was on the Ottergami book. So I've decided instead of using pens, I'm going to be using pencil, and these are the ones that I've been using. Again, the same colour palette. But I think it'll work a lot better. These are actually water soluble pencils, but I'm not going to use them like that. I'm not going to put any water on this page because I think it would buckle horribly. So yes, I'm just going to be using them dry and building up the colours. I find it much easier if you hold the pencil further away from the end that's got the sharp bit with the colour on it. Then you've got a lot more control over it, of how much you're actually putting down, and you can build that colour up and then use, like here I'm using a slightly darker orange, build those colours up so that you can blend them, and then perhaps go back to the first colour again and put another layer over that one. Just keep building those colours up, and you'll see as this pumpkin comes together, you'll see that effect that it has by just keep going without pressing too hard on any one area in particular. Just keep bringing a little bit more colour into that and blend it nicely. You can actually get blending solvent, which I've tried to get from my local art store, but they've sold out unfortunately. So I won't be able to get that for a few weeks. And anyway, I wouldn't have been able to use that on this paper because, like I said, it would have buckled and the paper wouldn't be flat any longer, and that would be really irritating. So I've just decided to use these pencils as they are. So you don't have to use water-soluble ones. You can just use normal colouring pencils or crayons or chalk even, just to bring those colours up. And then the green of the apple, so this is a very, very bright zingy green that I'm using, and then a little bit of red to bring out those colours in where the sun's hit it, and then a darker green, a much more earthy sort of green for the pear, because pears quite often do have that slightly browner tinge to them than the apples that I grow in my garden anyway. We've got a Golden Delicious apple tree which my husband can eat because he has a few allergies to things, and some of the apples he can't eat, but he can eat Golden Delicious, and I find Golden Delicious to be pretty tasteless, frankly. So I'm all for apples that have got a little bit more flavour, and I really like Braeburn and Cox's. But these ones I just, in fact, when we started growing the Golden Delicious this year, they all turned red because we had a lot of warm weather right when they were starting to be pollinated. So yeah, I thought, well, I'll put a little bit of red on these ones because that's actually what I've got growing in my back garden. And then don't forget the stalks. And here's the beginning of that sweet corn. So the stalk of the sweet corn is quite thick, and I've done it in a darker green. And then the leaves, because this time of year everything's beginning to ripen, so the leaves are going to be quite yellowish. I've used a sort of bright green at the base of the leaves. I think this is, what is it, Viridian green, I think. And then I'm going to use some yellows and another green just to bring the ends of those leaves so that they kind of look a bit dried out and crispy, because the energy has been used in those leaves now and they're dying back. And of course what we really want to get our hands on are those lovely yellow cobs so that we can steam them in the oven or on the barbecue and put some butter or whatever you like on them. Somebody really ought to invent sweet corn that does not get stuck between your teeth, because my goodness me, that's so annoying, and it just ruins the whole experience, wouldn't you agree? Now this is just, I'm getting some browns together and then a bright yellow, and I think I'm going for a really pale yellow as well for the corn, just to make it stand out a bit more. And the outside, the skin, actually, you know, in real life is probably more green. In fact, it definitely is more green, but I decided to use brown because it contrasts against the green that is already there for the leaves. And then at the tops of the sweet corn, you've probably seen before, they have these little fluffy bits where the seeds are on the top of the plant, so make sure you put those in. And then it's time to draw your jam jars. Now you can do them whatever colour you like. I decided to use a little bit of very dark grey on the top, just to make it look like a shiny silver top, and then make your bottles whatever colour you like. And you can also use your very, very thin fine liner. I think I use my 0.1 just to write the label. My favourite jam is raspberry jam, so I've put rusp on one side and jam on the other. Yum yum, pig's bum. Now we've got, well, look at that ghosting, not brilliant, but better than it would be with pen. Now we've got September at a glance. So this is my monthly spread, and it just means I can put anything that I think I've got coming up during that whole month. If I've got an appointment or something, then I can put that in, or if I've got any deadlines, it just reminds me, and I can have a look at the whole month in one go there. And then that lovely washi tape again. And my master task list is on the opposing page, just to give me, again, another reminder of the things that I've got coming up, or the deadlines that I must hit. And that includes, well, really I've got 4 different categories for this. There's the things that I need to think about for YouTube, so that might be different videos I've got coming up, or ideas that I have for videos and anything related to that, plus anything to do with my books. I've got a couple of book deadline things coming up, anything else to do with work, and then anything for me personally as well. And here I'm just splitting those sections so that I can see easily where I'm supposed to put things. On here I've got any notes that I need to make about all sorts of things really, but quite often about ideas that come to me and I can't think where else I need to put them. And then my income tracker, which has been pretty useful in the last couple of months. And then any statistics that I need to put in for the end of the month there, I'll fill those in. And again, just using the old washi tape to split those sections up. And then we're into the old weekly spreads. Now, some people do 1 week at a time. So when they get to the first week of September, they just fill in that week, and then they'd fill the next week in that following weekend. I continue to do the entire month, just because I think it gives me a better idea, particularly if I have to write any appointments or things like that in. It just gives me a better grip on what's happening during those weeks. But I might try doing just a week at a time at some point and see how I get on with it. So on that left hand side, you've just seen me draw that's for any appointments, things coming up, so that's every single day. And then my tasks, I've given myself a lot more space down the right hand side of the page. And with the pencil, I've just chosen 7 different colours, ranging from a very pale yellow through the oranges and down through to a dark brown. And again, that's just my colour palette for this month. I'm just colouring those individual days in, and that's going to follow right through the month, just to give me a bit of colour on the pages. And I'll also add a little bit of washi tape as well down that side bar. September is generally a really busy month for us because both my boys have their birthdays, my husband's birthday, my oldest friend Lizzie, hello buddy, her birthday is also in September, and the dog. So yeah, I have to get my thinking cap on and try and make sure I don't forget anybody. So September is going to be filled in right after I've shot this video. And here is my final flip through for the setup and also for September. Happy autumn everyone!
There, that wasn't too painful. Having to start a new bullet journal partway through the year is a little bit like having to accommodate your great Auntie Madge to the Christmas lunch when you've only really planned to feed your immediate family. Of course you'll do it, but it won't be easy, especially as great Auntie Madge is a bit, you know. Don't forget to check out the description box below for all manner of roast potatoes, Yorkshire puddings, and of course those roast carrots. Okay, I think I might have taken the Christmas dinner thing just a little bit too far this time. And if you really want to support me on Patreon, I will literally think of you every time I do a sit-up. Next time we're looking at how much it costs to actually make your book. I'll see you next time. Nanu nanu!